our Kate Garraway
And Christine.
and Christine have all admitted to joining work calls whilst on the loo. They're actually
It's an efficient
zooming
use of time. Not
from
zooming,
the pan.
don't escalate.
They are calling from the bog. They are
not.
chatting while relieving.
Let's
it's
let
unbelievable.
our official people debate this.
Okay.
You don't have to argue with me anymore. It's peace. Let peace reign. I think it's an efficient use of time. If someone calls you, you might not have a moment, you know. Others think it's a new low, though.
Do they?
And we want to
Do they
ask
think that?
if you've ever taken a call in the store.
No, the toilet is your second office.
What happens if you drop your phone?
I think there's a time and a place for you to be taking calls, and I don't think the toilet is the right place to be doing that. I don't think it's necessarily bad, it's just a bit odd.
Absolutely, it's efficient, right? Life's about efficiencies.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it as long as you don't hear what you're doing. If that makes sense.
I think you should probably just say, guys, can you wait 5 minutes? I've got something to do.
As long as you're not on video call, you can just do
Yeah, of course, people take calls in the toilet all the time. They take it these days anywhere.
There has been a few awkward meetings when people have forgotten to turn their mute button on, and it sounded like you beside the Trevi fountain, but other than that...
Goodness
It's
me.
made me laugh.
There is a time and a place, and turn off your camera. Seems to be the advice from our Vox Box. Comedian and author Helen Lederer says there's nothing wrong with taking work calls on the loo, but journalist Nina Mishkov finds it revolting and thinks that if you're that desperate, I mean, revolting.
Why are you so shocked, Mr. Balls? I mean, are we not all human beings? Do we all not have to do certain things that we have in common?
Yes.
Even the late Queen, I'm told, visited the lavatory.
I don't think she did, actually.
OK, well, you're
She was the
deluded,
Queen.
Mr.
She was
Balls.
the Queen.
No, Mr. Balls, let me just say, we all have a bodily function. Some of us are freelance. A call may come in. You've got to take it. And Mr. Churchill himself did a lot of stuff on the lavatory.
Yes.
Of great value. So I don't know why we're making a demarcation between the lavatory and being meaningful. I think you can be meaningful on the lavatory and off.
Nina, that sounds fair enough, doesn't it?
No, I just think it's revolting. I think it's really, really slobby. It's also terribly unhygienic. And
Why?
Also,
what are you doing? Are you putting the phone in the lavatory? You don't keep it in your hand.
But if you have it in your hand, then you go to the lavatory. You still have it in your hand before you wash your hands. And you know, there's going to be... Well, I've never done it, so I don't know. Why do you...
We're imagining, aren't we? We're imagining.
We're imagining. But there's no call, there's almost no call that's that desperate that you have, that it can't wait 2 or 3 minutes.
Especially if you're desperate.
Especially if you're desperate, exactly. So you don't need to do it. I find it's really slobby, and it's also adding an intimacy that you hadn't asked for. Because, as you say, the sound effects. You know, if I rang you up, Helen...
Yeah, I hope you do.
And suddenly
Let's
I thought, what's that, Niagara Falls? And you said, well, I'm on the loo. I'd be... Well, how disrespectful is that?
It's not disrespectful. I think that
completely
the fact
disrespectful.
that... I mean, I'm interested at your horror, because I'm not advocating the only time you take a call, you busily go to the lavatory and then do it. I'm just saying, on occasion, we are not in control of our employment. It could be Spielberg calling me, probably waiting to call me now.
3 minutes.
No, Spielberg can't.
Yes,
you don't
he can.
understand. People can't
Yes,
wait.
he can.
I think you have to be ever ready. The body does what it does. Obviously, you're not going to do the whole action. Did you do the whole action when you revealed your earlier experience?
I didn't demonstrate
Number one
it.
or number two?
Oh, holy moly. No, I just mean that...
Just a tinkle. I mean, it's fine.
A little tinkle.
And I'm not necessarily...
There weren't long
Actually, you're
pauses
just
on
in
the
the
call.
loo and you take it. You don't have to...
No, but
oh, my gosh.
But don't you feel vulnerable? If you're speaking to the big boss, as it were,
yes,
and you're taking it, don't you feel in a vulnerable position?
No, you're sitting down in a proper lavatory with a ceiling on in a house. There's nothing scary.
Isn't it dreadful that we've become so wedded, so enslaved to the mobile phone, that takes precedence over everything? I mean, it's supposed to be a convenience for us, not a slave driver.
You're saying you should be allowed to enjoy.
Yeah. Well, yes.
Going to the
now
loo.
we get more information.
Just
Mr.
do
Balls
it and get
probably
on with
spends
life.
a lot of time on his own in the lavatory.
I don't.
My uncle used to do that. Every time he wanted to go out, he would always be in the lavatory.
I don't, because I know about the public health advice on hemorrhoids.
Exactly. The hemorrhoid situation is
another argument.
And in the old
so
days, men used to go with sit there with newspapers for 20 or 30 minutes. You think, what are they?
Yes,
exactly.
Not good for your health.
No, but the thing is, if you
Look, if you want a job, as it were, excuse the pun, if you do want a job and the call comes and you happen to be in the lavatory...
On the job.
There's ways... You always go one step too far, Mr Balls. And then it's perfectly plausible to deal with the call in a gallant manner and on you go.
Just because somebody has your phone number and might well employ you, they don't own you. They don't own the right to use immediate. You can call them back.
I want the job. Nina, I want the job. I'm not going to go
If you're getting the job depends on 3 minutes delay, then you're not going to get the job, full stop. Let's face it.
3 minutes?
Crikey.
That's such a negative way of thinking.
I feel like this is the moment to pull the chain. I think on this debate, we've explored all avenues that I never expected to on breakfast television.
Are you changing your views as the day's gone on?
I'm enjoying everything that both of you have said.
She's flushed.
I'm flushed with embarrassment.
Goodness
Thank
me.
you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
Our pleasure.
Goodness,
Thank you.
you know, on a it's good to have something light to talk about on a very serious.
It's good to have a little bit of something to giggle about,
Oh, well,
isn't it? You're
anyway.
watching Good Morning Britain. We've got serious news, though, haven't we?
We have.